Last Sunday, I was putting together a new dresser I had bought in the rear bedroom of my apartment. The bedroom door was open, and I could see down the main hallway into the living room where my fiancé was standing with the two kids while they were playing. This is about 7:30 p.m. A knock comes on the door. My 6-year-old son runs to the door and opens it, even though he knows he is not supposed to. We are working on this. He was coming down from his birthday party excitement and just went for it, probably thinking someone else was stopping by for his party, even though it was long over. A woman is at the door. I recognize her as an upstairs neighbor from the other side of the building. She says she needs help and walks straight into the apartment. She began frantically talking nonsense, saying she was locked out of the building, she is in the building, saying she can get into her apartment but couldn't get in the building, then in the same breath saying she can't get into her apartment. She appears extremely disoriented and keeps saying she's just so exhausted or really tired over and over again. She appears very out of it. Not balancing very well, speech pattern is sloppy, appears to be in some sort of a light daze. To me, immediately, it appeared she was having some sort of episode. As soon as I stepped foot near her, I could tell something fishy was going on. She continued to talk in circles and not make any sense, saying her parents were going to be so worried if she didn't check in with them. She lives alone. She begins repeatedly asking us to call numbers for her. Her phone is in her hand on the video record setting, but I can see it is not recording. She is rolling something in her pocket over and over. It appears to be a screwdriver. As she is telling my fiancé numbers to dial, she cannot come up with the numbers. Every phone number she gave us to call for help was multiple digits short. They were not phone numbers. Then when I said that's not enough numbers to make a phone number, she would switch to a different phone number and then stop halfway through saying it. This happened about 7 to 8 times, and finally I had enough. She kept saying her phone wasn't working, so I had let her try to use my phone, but she ended up just standing there holding it. Not using it, just holding on to it, continuously talking nonsense. I'm thoroughly uncomfortable at this point and very upset that this woman has entered my apartment without invitation and is acting this way around my children. I tell my fiancé to take the kids to the back of the house and try to coax the woman out by saying, "Let's go check out your apartment. Come with me. We will see if it's open." I try to lead her out of my apartment, but she says she is so exhausted and needs to sit down and proceeds to just sit down on my living room couch. I'm not thrilled with this. In fact, I'm livid, but I keep my cool and realize I'm dealing with crazy. My fiancé flanks her from the back so she cannot get further into the apartment and near the children again. I continue trying to coax her out. After about 5 minutes of trying to convince her to leave our apartment and come with me to check hers out, she finally walks ever so slowly out of our basement apartment. I'm a stairway ahead of the woman already, telling her to follow me up to her apartment. On the way to her apartment, she attempts to get into 2 other apartments that are not hers. I tell her each time that is not her apartment. When I arrive at her apartment, the door is wide open. She has not caught up with me yet, so I take a quick glance inside the door. The couch cushions are thrown everywhere, and the living room is looking torn up and turned upside down. She arrives behind me and tries again to get into another neighbor's apartment across the hall from hers. I tell her that is not her apartment, but hers is here and is wide open. Finally, I get her to go inside her apartment. When she does, she apologizes to me, saying, "I'm sorry this is how we had to meet. I'm just so exhausted." I say it's okay and quickly head back downstairs to my apartment. I have such an uneasy feeling that I decide to call the cops and let them know some woman who I have never spoken to before showed up at my door asking for help and acting disoriented. They say they will send someone to check on her. An hour later, police arrive and knock on her door. No answer. They leave. 4:15 a.m. rolls around. My 6-year-old son and 1-year-old daughter have been asleep through the night, as have myself and my fiancé. I get up to use the bathroom. As I'm using the bathroom, I hear a light knock on the apartment door. So light, I actually second-guessed if I heard it. I call out to my fiancé to ask her if she heard a knock at the door too. She says she didn't hear it. We both head towards the living room together just to see if we hear anything. No sooner do we step foot in the living room than we begin to hear scratching at our front door. The unmistakable sound of someone clawing at your door is not something I wish for anyone to hear in the middle of the night. It is truly horrifying. I tell my fiancé to be with the kids and make sure they are okay. I opened the door to find the woman from earlier standing at the top of the flight of stairs in front of my apartment, just looking down, staring at the door. It's fucking terrifying. So I told her, no fucking way are we doing this shit. Proceeded to call her a crazy bitch and tell her to get the fuck away from my apartment and stay away from my family. I also told her I'm calling the cops right now. She scurries away out of sight, presumably back to her apartment. I immediately call the police. They show up and ask her all of the mental health questions, which she apparently answered adequately, so they said there's nothing they can do. This woman was clearly in some sort of state and is now harassing me and my family and disturbing our peace and the safety of my children. They told her to stay away from us, and I haven't seen her in a week since then. But I can't help but continue to think about it. Ever since the first time she entered the apartment acting crazy, I have had this pit in my stomach and this uneasy feeling that whatever this is not over. I still do not know what it was that was going on, and it makes me feel so uneasy. I do not know what to make of it. Our other neighbor, who we are cool with, said that her doorknob was being jiggled by someone in the middle of the night. Putting two and two together, I know it was this crazy woman. It's got me sick. The complex sent her a warning that this behavior is unacceptable, but I really don't know what to do or how to feel. My first instinct is to respond with anger and physically defend myself and my family.